So, one of the most dreaded questions you can ask any experienced headhunter or search consultant is, who do you have on your database that you can send us for this position? And let me tell you why. At this level, we simply just don't work with databases of candidates, even though we might have a lot of people that we are working with and know a lot of people in the market. Every search is approached uniquely and individually, and trying to make that most accurate match for you as the client, taking into account all of the variables that we have been briefed on and bringing you the best that we can then. So it's not a quick mechanical process. It's not pulling a few people and pushing them across on email and hoping one of those will fit. But it really is a dedicated process, trying to find you those individuals who will really make a difference in your business. You know, when you think about recruitment in its most basic essence, it is sales, but it is a very complex sale because we are not selling a product and we are not selling a simple solution, but we are selling individuals. If you want to use the word selling, it really is better to say representing individuals with their dreams, their goals, their aspirations, with their family environments, with geographical constraints and financial constraints, and a whole lot of other things going on in their lives. Similarly, as an organization, the vision, the goals, the growth, the increased market share, the projects, all of that gets done by people. Even if there is a lot of technology and automation and different things involved, it's still people who create, develop, implement, and keep that running and keep on raising the game in those areas. And of course, you need to match those personalities and the environment so that everyone can be their best and do their best to take these organizations to the greatness that they are wanting to go to. And so it can never be just a simple database search, because that will not get you the best matches for what you are needing. And, you know, anyone who's been in recruitment for any length of time needs to be a master intermediary between organization and individual, because on both sides, education, support, and help is needed to make sure all of this happens as smoothly and as good as it can. And there are just so many variables in that process. Many things can shift. You know, anyone who's recruited for any length of time will tell you that they have had experiences where candidates who were starting in a process or even very far at offer stage with a process suddenly is not available anymore because a spouse has taken up a position elsewhere and they're relocating, or a close family member passed away and there's too much on their plate, or a child is having issues at school and suddenly they can't take up the stress of a new position and manage everything that needs to be happening with their children, or, you know, a whole lot of other things that can happen in their lives. And so every time we need to go back and make sure the timing, the qualification, the fit with the company, and all those things are still correct. And, you know, then bring together what can work there. It's not just a list of people. And having said that, then, you know, if you work with a lot of recruiters, you are really running the risk that because they are simply working on requirements, so it might be years of experience and qualification and industry experience or that kind of a thing, it's very generic. But if you want those right people who will come in and contribute in your business, it requires a different conversation. It requires a deeper search. And when you have got someone who can then be briefed properly, communicated with properly, take your compelling story to these top candidates, all of a sudden, a place where these candidates would normally feel just like a commodity because 3 or 4 or 5 agencies are calling them about the same role, have now become super attractive to them because it's represented to them in such a unique and detailed way, and they can understand why this one would be different to other roles. And you know, it just makes sense to do that. And of course, if you're working with these kind of headhunters who can do this work for you and represent you well, you are buying goodwill for years to come in the market, and you will remain an attractive employer to those individuals. Even if they're not successful on this round, they might come back on another round, and they will certainly not go and badmouth you to all of their peers in the market and tell people that you're not a good company to work for because they were so frustrated with the process. So, even if it does take a little bit longer, it makes more sense to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks longer for that search to happen and for the right matches to be made, so that you don't need to replace every 2 or 3 months. Because yes, in a contract position, maybe you can get away with having someone in there for 2 or 3 months just needing to do a job. But for any longer term position, the impact of needing to exit someone out of an organization who did not work out properly is huge. And it's not just the financial cost of replacing, it is also the morale and the time lost, and maybe the harm that they've done when they didn't achieve or perform the way that they were supposed to in the role. And then to bring someone else on board is going to take doubly as long, so there's so much loss there. Whereas if you rather upfront can wait a little bit longer than just doing a very quick process and making sure who you appoint is right for the role, then the longevity should be there. And really, if you are working with an experienced headhunter or the recruiter, they should offer you a much longer guarantee period, so that should, even after all of that careful matching, something does go wrong, they will replace for you. And you will know there is at least some succession that can happen within a reasonable amount of time from someone who understands exactly what you are needing. So I hope this helps you to understand why you shouldn't ask, just send me your database, but actually allow for a proper process to be followed.